When Sigmund Freud first introduced his theories about the importance of hypnosis, he was laughed at and ridiculed by his colleagues. Since then, hypnotherapy has gradually gained widespread acceptance. But now, a controversial new type of hypnotherapy is once again asking us to look at our lives in an astounding new way. It's the serious study of past life therapy. Even traditional doctors are starting to wonder if hypnotized patients can really recall that they have lived before in a different body.
I got involved at first with past life therapy as a seemingly spontaneous or accidental thing. I was chairman of psychiatry, very much academically trained and left-brained.
Dr. Brian Weiss is a respected psychiatrist and author of 2 books on past life therapy.
No medical organization has come out really and endorsed this. Oftentimes they'll come up to me and say, I've had this marvelous experience, or my patient has, but don't tell anyone. I get that a lot.
One startling new case has doctors and hypnotherapists re-examining their beliefs. It all started in the small town of Lake Elsinore, California. Here, under hypnosis, more than 30 people all recalled that they had lived and died together more than 100 years ago. Under the guidance of Marge Reeder, a hypnotherapist for 16 years, Maureen Williamson was the first to speak of this shared past life.
There was an incident that happened to me when I was real young, and I was interested in the details. It started initially with a name, and the name I had come up with was John Ashford.
She said, oh, he's my husband. Well, that was not her husband's name. And I said, well, where are we? Well, we're in Millboro.
In Marge Reeder's practice, it's not unusual for someone to recall a past life, but what happened next startled the hypnosis community.
So then she looked at me and she said, I saw Joe back there. And I said, Joe who? She says, Joe Nazarowski. He owned a security office down here on Main Street.
Joe Nazarowski came to see Marge Reeder and without prompting told stories that were strikingly similar.
During the Civil War time, I went to Millboro, and my primary function there was that in the event that the war were to go badly for the Confederacy, to blow up the tunnels so that they could not use those materials against our military.
Marge probed deeper with Maureen, and she recalled that even more people from Lake Elsinore could have had a history in Millboro, Virginia.
And then she said, I saw Millie back there. Barbara Roberts was sitting in the room, and Barbara wrote me a note and said, ask her if I'm there. And I said, is Barbara Roberts back there in Virginia? She says, yes, she's my mother-in-law. She's John's mother. And from there on out, it just snowballed.
Maureen, who was the first to speak of Millboro, brought her husband in to see Marge. Under hypnosis, he recalled that he had been Maureen's lover in Millboro.
Marge and I have found out under regressions is that I am still in love with a lady, and I always have been for 130 years.
The Civil War, for example, is a very popular period. A lot of people have been there. I have people finding their own grave sites. They find their names. They know their way around, and they've never been in that area before. So this is extremely possible, probable, and I applaud this research. This is the type of thing that more people should have the courage to do.
Marge Reeder has documented the first case of mass regression in her book, Mission to Millboro. As amazing as these stories are, skeptics argue that Marge was somehow influencing her patients unconsciously. So we decided to go on our own mission to Millboro for evidence of this shared past life. Our first step was to search for a boarding house, which almost everyone had spoken of under regression. And we found it.
My boarding house didn't have that much to do with the Civil War because I had the regular boarders, and I fed a lot of people, and I baked a lot of bread.
Under regression, nearly everyone recalled a graveyard where Maureen, as Becky Ashford, was buried. Just outside of town, we found a family plot.
I had been told by several people Becky's grave is about 1.5 miles outside of town. The graves are untended, the grass is high. Joe told me all along it's in an enclosure. There's a little iron gate fence, and that's just what we found.
Joe Nazarowski recalled that his name in 1861 was Charlie Patterson, a West Point graduate. A trip to the West Point archives uncovered this photograph taken in 1861. The cadet here is Charlie Patterson of Millboro, Virginia. Joe also recalled a tunnel that he was supposed to blow up during the Civil War. We found the tunnel, and even these holes where he could have placed dynamite charges.
So we're going to place the dynamite to make sure that if the Yankees came through, that it would take the tunnel out. They couldn't get the supplies.
Before their regression, none of the people in Lake Elsinore had been to Millboro, but it's possible that they could have seen pictures or heard stories about the area. However, one place we discovered was unknown to even lifetime residents of Millboro, totally unknown to everyone but one of Marge's clients. It was a secret room used to hide slaves. The room was supposedly hidden underground near a church. Marge pinpointed its location using old maps and began to dig.
We're in the middle of downtown Millboro. I have reason to think that there's an underground railroad hidden tunnel and room down here. And I heard about it just a few months ago from one of the newer girls in my Millboro study.
After hours of digging, Marge broke through and found the secret room.
You can see the room very clearly. You can see the green walls, green concrete walls as they were described to me.
The plank ceiling, sod floor, and Civil War-era paraphernalia provided further evidence that this room may have been the secret room revealed under regression. This discovery is an important step forward in the search for proof that the mass regression is more than just the power of suggestion or coincidence.
In my practice as a psychiatrist, doing past life regression work, I focus primarily on therapy, on healing. The other level, which Marge is doing, is extremely important also. It's proof that this is real.